Welcome to the NOSA Unleashed podcast, where we want to expose and remove the stigma surrounding mental health by discussing real-life challenges and obstacles that keep us paralyzed and fearful to move forward. Let us inspire you to believe there is more to life than what you are currently experiencing. Now is the time to end the silence and pursue the path to purpose and fulfillment. We will do this together because no one stands alone. Welcome back to the NOSA Unleashed podcast. I'm Laura Burgoyne, joined here with my sister Connie Blackwood. And today we are continuing the conversation about stress. But today we want to specifically talk about strategies of how to manage stress in our life and how Connie and I have developed specific strategies to help us manage when we have been in seasons of overwhelm, in seasons where we haven't been coping well. And we just want to share with you some of those strategies so that you can implement them in your own life and, be able to navigate through whatever difficult, stressful season that you're in a more productive way and in a way that will actually propel you forward instead of keep you stuck. So welcome, Connie, to conversation.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited actually talking about how we get through stress rather than just how it affects us, because we all experience stress, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a single person on the planet that has not experienced stress. And how we deal with it impacts us in huge ways. And I think for me, right now, I'm focused on a season of rest. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a good one for me because in the past, like when I was younger, I rarely took time off. I would like work all of my time, and I rarely took the time that I needed, and it piles up. You need to take time to rest and to regroup yourself and refocus yourself. And this actually does help you lose the overwhelm and help you refocus, and your body can relax, right? So that is a huge one for me.
So how do you how do you find time to rest when you have so many demands and so many things, vying for your attention? Like, how do you actually carve out time for rest?
Well, first off, like one of my paying jobs is actually like seasonal, so that makes it easy, right?
Mhm.
Another one of my jobs is mentoring kid like people. So I can always say, well, how does your Christmas season look? Can we, take a few weeks off and just do this in the new year? And then you reach out if you need me, kind of thing. And so that's how I deal with that. And then with my writing and stuff, actually, I find writing restful. So when I'm taking my times of rest, that's the perfect time for me to write because it actually gives me rest. It like helps refocus my mind and calm my body. And so for me, that's the time that I can actually have the most effective writing time. So it really depends on what I'm doing, right? And so for me, part
Mhm.
of my rest is like reading more. And so that inspires me with my writing. And so for me, that's kind of what replaces my work schedule so that I'm not just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I'm actually still doing something productive, but it's something that actually calms me and relaxes me. And so in that way, I'm still productive and doing something. It's just something I'm not normally doing. And if you don't have a seasonal job, then it's more difficult for sure. But you can find ways like carving out evenings by, saying, okay, for this time, I need to back off from some of my volunteer stuff or some of my social stuff, right? There's different ways where you can organize your time where for a season you're just taking time away. Um, a friend of ours has taken quite a significant amount of time to rest. And I think that was wise for her, right? Like where she withdrew from a lot of different things that she was a part of. And I
Mhm.
think we all need seasons and we know what we need. Our bodies tell us, our spirits tell us, our emotions tell us. And, I don't want to get to the point where I need to take 6 to 8 years off of everything to recoup. I want to keep myself in a
Mhm.
position where I can be healthy for everybody. So I'm taking a few weeks instead of, you know, a longer period of time. But if you let it build up, it comes to the point where you need to do that, right? Especially if you have a lot of stressful things going on at once, like
Uh-huh.
loss of loved ones and things like that. Sometimes you
Yeah.
do need 6 months to a year. And that's when
Yeah.
people take medical leaves from work. And maybe that's what you need, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and as you were saying that, I was even thinking like even in our work, like even if we have a full-time 9 to 5 job, even within that parameter of that work schedule, we're given 2 weeks vacation a year, right? You almost can think of it as a sabbatical, right? An opportunity for you to unwind and pull back from, all the responsibilities of life and refocus, like you said, reframe things, rethink if maybe everything that you're putting your time and attention to is a priority in this season. And I know we've talked about this before, but some things are in our life for only a season, and then other things are for a lifetime, but they are seasonal, right? So it's okay for us to pause something for a short time so that when we come back to it, we are more effective, right? When it comes to, strategies for dealing with stress, you know, the biggest issue I had with prolonged stress was my burnout. And
Mm.
what I realized in that season was I got to that point because I had no idea how to have self-care for myself. And now, we're 15 years post my burnout, like after my burnout. And when I look back to that time, like I had no idea what I wanted. I had no idea what refreshed me. I had no idea what I needed to, heal myself. And it was a difficult phase to go through at the age of 30 and be like, I don't know what I need for self-care, right? But now that I've come through that season, it's like I know what I need. And so my encouragement to anyone listening to this is you need to take care of yourself, right? They always tell you this, put your oxygen mask on first before helping someone else, right? And I learned that the hard way. If you aren't taking care of yourself, if you aren't managing stress well, if you're burning your candle at both ends, you're going to get to a place where you can't even help yourself, let alone anyone else. And so self-care is really important. And what that looks like is what do you need on a daily basis to be refreshed, rejuvenated, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, yearly basis? Like, what is it that you need, right? And start implementing things, priorities in your schedule that will help you take care of yourself. And for me personally, that looks like retreats, massages, nights off per week. I look forward to being able to reinstate that real soon. Um, it looks like me getting up a few hours before everyone in the morning, so I have a few hours by myself every day. Those are things that bring me rest, right? Even after a long, stressful day, being able to just take a hot Epsom salts bath just to relax my body, right? But that is me taking care of myself. So self-care is a major part of learning how to manage stress. Can you think of any other strategies that you like to use when it comes to managing stress, Connie?
Um, so for me, I need to always evaluate how I'm spending my time, especially my time when I'm not like when I'm with my husband and I'm not doing anything particularly productive, right? I need
Mhm.
to be able to have that time be life-giving instead of just wasted time. Because then I feel like if it's wasted time, then it's taking away A from my relationship with my husband, and B, it's taking away from all the other things I could be working on or doing in those moments. And so that actually increases my stress instead of decreases it. And so if I can organize that time and use it effectively, where I'm either actually connecting with my husband, like over a game or something like that, versus just, binge watching a show, Unless, of course, we're talking about it, right? Because then it is still engaging, but you actually have to be engaged and not just disconnected. And I think sometimes our society has gotten us so good at disconnecting that it's
Right.
hard to connect, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
phones, disconnect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Screen time, disconnect, all of this stuff. And we have lost our ability to connect well. And for me, I feel like if I organize my time to connect, then I feel rejuvenated. I feel like I've gotten my life back. And I've
Mm-hmm.
I feel the difference hugely. And so even making sure that I have that time to reconnect with who I am, myself, reconnecting with God every day, making sure I have that connection time, making sure I have connection time with my husband, and it's actually connection time, not just, okay, we're existing together. Those are huge, important pieces for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they help me go into my work life and all these other things with more energy, more efficiency, and more vitality. But when I just veg or go on screens or whatever, I find that that actually makes it harder for me to do any of the other things because I feel like I'm wasting time. And then I'm beating myself up over that. It's not good because that's just more stress.
I think you bring up a really important point though, because when we, as a culture and a generation, we do use technology to escape
Hmm.
from what we call stress, but it's causing us to disconnect. And it's not managing our stress, right? It's just masking the stress. It's hiding it for a different day. And so I think one thing that you pointed out, which is huge, is our phones
Hmm.
or technology. And I think if we're going to learn how to manage stress well, if we're feeling stressful, it's actually beneficial for us to actually eliminate that distraction, right? To actually turn off the phones, turn off the computers, and find other ways of de-stressing. Because I will sometimes, scroll because I don't want to think about everything else going on in my life, but that's not helping me de-stress,
Hmm.
right? And so it's like literally turning that thing off, putting it in another room, forgetting it even exists for a few hours, and then taking legitimate time to rest, doing something that's going to refresh me, reconnect me with people that matter. Like all of that is so important, which brings me to my last point that I want to make, which I've had to do when in seasons of really prioritizing managing stress well, is that I've had to limit my exposure to people that I consider toxic,
Mm.
right? Like people that bring me harm, people that are cause me stress, right? If you have very difficult people in your life, it's okay to limit their exposure to you. It's okay to say, you know what? Um, we're not going to have connection right now because I need my space. I need time to really reevaluate this relationship or, some things in my life. And so putting parameters and boundaries in for people that are like that, that steal my peace, that actually take from me and don't give life, that's important. And maybe if you're listening, that resonates with you. Maybe you have a lot of people in your life that are what we would call toxic people, and they are just literally stealing your peace. They're stealing what you have and causing you to live so much stress. It's okay to limit their exposure to you. It's okay to limit their access and also how close you let them get to you. I've had some people in my life that I've had to put very, very, very strong boundaries with because, they weren't able to be a positive person in my life. They weren't able to honor the boundaries that I set. And so I had to put very, very clear, distinctive lines that they weren't able to cross. And that might be something you might need to consider when using a strategy for managing stress. Because if someone is toxic and they're causing you large amounts of stress, that might be a sign that you need to have less of them in your life.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um, I've had to put up those boundaries myself, and it's hard to do at first because you don't want to hurt people's feelings and you don't want people to feel rejected, but at the same time, you need to protect yourself, right?
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're not like you're going to end up in a place where you will need like that time to re regain yourself, really. And
Mhm.
so it's important.
That's right. Well, there's many more strategies that we can share, but for the sake of time, I think we'll close there. But I wanted to mention that we do have an upcoming webinar where Connie and I will be sharing more about stress. And we love for you to join us live. We're doing it the second Thursday of the month, January 8th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. You can register for that by clicking the link on our website at nosafoundation.com and reserve your spot there. And so we love to have you join us then and learn more about how you can manage stress in your life. So once again, thanks for joining us on the NOSA Unleashed podcast. Bye.
Bye.